We've all been there. An offhand comment, a misunderstood email, a meeting that quickly turns from calm to chaos. And suddenly, a relationship at work starts to crack. When communication, relationship, and anger collide, they can either destroy trust or unlock the truth that's been waiting to come out. So in this video, I'm unpacking what really happens when these three forces collide and how to turn fire into fuel. Let's talk about it. Okay, let's start with why these three elements are so powerful. So we got communication. That's the vehicle. That's the way that you express your needs, your wants, desires, what's required. That's the tool you use to influence people around you in your organization. Your relationships have these emotional highways between them, right? Emotions are exchanged. We're emotional beings first. We can catch feelings, and oftentimes we do, right? So we have these connections between those that we work with that create these like emotional highways. And then anger is like the ignition. It's like the spark, right? That can really get things lit up and get things going. So when all three come together, you're usually dealing with high stakes moments, really high emotion. It's not just anger at the table. That anger is inviting a lot of its friends with it, like frustration or hurt or upset or sadness. And there's high potential for rupture and resolution. But in the workplace, this often plays out as misinterpreting tone, a long simmering tension that eventually just explodes, or undue or unnecessary emotional labor. So when the three of these collide, it's not really a question of if something will change, because inevitably it will. It's how intentionally are you going to navigate it. Before I dive into ways to help turn this concoction, this collision, into a catalyst for connection and growth, I want to talk about three different instances where you've likely seen this come to fruition as a reality. The first is that email that broke the project. You know the one that I'm talking about. The one that's sent probably late at night, and it's got this really aggressive tone to it. It's saying ridiculous stuff. People in the morning are talking about, did you see that? Did you read that? Did you hear what he said? And then all of a sudden the project is just being derailed. You might even be experiencing the fallout of this email right now. The second is that one-on-one that turned into a blow-up. Maybe you heard some unexpected news. It came at you with aggression. It came at you with seeming to be a bit of anger. And perhaps they even misunderstood some actions that you took in no way meant to have the impact that it had. The third one, and I've seen this happen way too many times, the team that burned out in silence, where everybody's struggling. Everybody is carrying so much weight, but they all don't want to say anything because they don't want to get in trouble for it. They feel like there's going to be repercussions if they speak up. And so silently, people are getting burned out. Silently, people are talking about, there's another role over here. Have you heard about this company that's hiring? And eventually the burnout leads to high attrition rates and ultimately the failure of the project. This actually reminds me of a client that we're working with now in the building materials industry, and we gave them one of our diagnostic tools that we call our Change Growth Scorecard assessment. And it's to understand how that organization is showing up from an emotional fluency, emotional literacy, sharing their emotions, emotional self-awareness, and ultimately their change readiness and ability to move through a lot of change and complexity. Well, one of the questions that we asked them is, how often or comfortable are you with talking about your emotions with your team? And that was rock solid. 75% responded, yes, we talk about our feelings in our team. The second question that was asked is, do you conceal your emotions at work? And about 60% said yes, they do. There is a certain hiding of some emotions that happened. And then the third was, how often are you hiding negative emotions? And that was 50-50. 50% of individuals don't share the more negative emotions. And so this thing can happen where feelings are celebrated and it's okay to talk about them as long as they're perceived to be positive. As long as you are excited and you are grateful and you are joyful and you are hopeful, talk about your feelings all you want. But don't talk to me about frustration. Don't talk to me about what's getting you upset, about anger. And so there's a culture that is starting to nurture that holding those more difficult emotions within. And that's the simmering that happens. That's the quiet quitting. That's what turns that burnout into attrition and people walking out of the door. So the good part is when anger mixes in with communication and relationships, at least it means it's showing up. And that means there's an opportunity to better understand, connect, and move forward even closer, as long as you know how to navigate it. So let's dive into that right now. All right, so let's talk 3 steps that can help you turn this collision into a catalyst for growth and a stronger relationship. The first step is to name the emotion. And that goes for whether you're feeling the emotion or you're sensing it in the person that you're speaking to. This could sound like, in this moment, I am feeling anger. I am feeling a bit of overwhelm. I'm feeling a bit of frustration. So I just want to start by naming that so that you know the emotion that's right here in the room with us. That's if you're walking into the conversation carrying that emotion. Now, if you notice it in someone else, you can say, it feels like there's a lot of anger behind this. It seems like you're irritated or frustrated. Did I get that right? And allow them to tell you if they're experiencing that emotion. And if you feel that they're not being honest and you can sense that there's that anger, maybe you might even say it again. It really feels though that you might be upset, that you might be angry. Are you sure that that's not getting you in that place? Ultimately, this anger is a signal, and it's signaling you into an opportunity to better connect and better understand not only where the person is coming from who might be bringing that anger, but also for you, if you're stepping into a conversation having a lot of anger and being upset or having that frustration. So use the anger as a guide, right? Allow that to inform you. There is something here for us to dive deeper into, to learn and better connect. The second step is to use curiosity as a de-escalation tool. Now, I was already kind of getting at that with a question posed and sensing that you're angry about this. Did I get that right? That is a curiosity cue, right? You're just striving to understand and let that individual know, I want to fully understand where you're coming from. So I've got some questions if that's okay if I ask. You might even ask, what's really at the heart of this? The idea here is to use the power of curiosity to get at the root of what's really going on with this individual. And I'll say there's also great power in asking yourself these questions if it's you who's experiencing the anger, especially if you can recognize it, right? I feel there's so much anger in my body right now. Why? Why is this anger with me right now? What is it trying to tell me? What is it informing me? Why did it get inspired? Get curious within yourself. That's going to help your communication when you need to actually show up, when you need to have a conversation. Either it's a one-on-one or maybe it's with your leader, with a manager, with the direct report. That way you'll be able to name the emotion and you yourself will have more data and rationale as to why that anger has shown up for you. The third and final step is to rebuild boundaries with clarity. This can be framed like, here's what I think we need moving forward. Or you can say, here's what I commit to doing moving forward. And you might even ask the question, what more do you need from me moving forward to ensure that we don't get into the same situation again, right? This is a learning opportunity. How can we both learn from this as we move forward? And you don't necessarily need to do this in the conversation because it's going to be heated, it's going to be charged. But maybe a day or so later, reapproach that individual and ask, how do you think we handled that really tense moment? How do you think we could have done it a little bit better? How do you feel my role was? How do you think I showed up in the conversation? I want to make sure that we're learning from this situation so that we can be better at it moving forward. Because we do tough work, we do difficult work, we both have differing personalities. So it's inevitable we're going to have another tense moment. So let's just make sure we learn from this one so it can be better the next time you feel like killing me. Or you feel like killing them. So now, best part freebie, link below. Okay, this is a free chapter to my best-selling book, Change Enthusiasm, How to Harness the Power of Emotion for Leadership and Success. That emotion includes anger. All right, so this is an introductory chapter to that mindset to help you see anger as that signal, moving you into the opportunity and then how you show up, how you choose to move forward. So everything that I just shared, this chapter is going to help you bring that to life. And it's completely for free. Just click the link below. Now, until we meet again, you click on another one of my videos and you see this face, I want you to keep learning, Keep growing, keep connecting. Don't try to suppress your anger, but use the tips, the tactics that I just shared to use it, to do something with it, to grow, to connect, and evolve moving forward. And above all else, you know it, keep rocking.